Tonight on Cronkite News, a closer look at President Biden's controversial plan to temporarily suspend asylum and what it means for some children trying to make it to the U.S.
Plus, with just weeks to go, we learn 3 players from the Phoenix Mercury are headed to Paris this summer.
And a look at one of the more popular sports in Arizona, but it can be dangerous. We talked to a local firefighter whose job is to keep people safe. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Iman Abraham.
And I'm Lucas Metzner. Thank you for joining us.
President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, was found guilty today on all accounts against him. A jury convicted him on 3 felony charges after he lied on a form when purchasing a gun.
It took the jury only 3 hours over 2 days to reach its verdict. Prosecutors argued that Biden lied on the form by saying he was not illegally using drugs. Biden now faces up to 25 years in prison. Department of Justice Special Counsel David Weiss spoke about the verdict shortly after it was read.
This case was about the illegal choices defendant made while in the throes of addiction, his choice to lie on a government form when he bought a gun, and the choice to then possess that gun. It was these choices and the combination of guns and drugs that made his conduct dangerous. Second, no one in this country is above the law. Everyone must be accountable for their actions, even this defendant.
President Biden was not in the courtroom, but he did say he will not challenge the verdict and he will respect the judicial process as Hunter appeals.
Meanwhile, President Biden's new executive order to turn away migrants seeking asylum marks a major policy shift for his administration, and it's meant to reflect the concerns of some voters about the influx of immigrants through the border. But as Efa Kane tells us, the new order also has an exemption for unaccompanied children who make the journey to seek asylum here in the U.S.
A pivot in border policy effective immediately. President Biden's executive order prevents most migrants from seeking asylum.
The executive authority is available to me as president to do what I can on my own to address the border.
Arizona Democrats praised the president's order. Senator Mark Kelly and Representative Greg Stanton showed their support at the White House.
We're at this point where the White House is taking some steps that I truly believe is going to make a big difference.
The order cracks down on illegal migrant crossings but makes exceptions for unaccompanied children who are seeking asylum. Manuel Ruiz, the chair of the Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisors, has first-hand experience with the influx of immigrants through Nogales. He's not sure whether the exception for minors will encourage more to cross the border.
You know, I don't know. To tell you the truth, I know that what we saw in Nogales was a mixture of mothers and young children. But there was also a huge West African contingent of young men that were coming across.
According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection in Arizona, the number of encounters with unaccompanied children at the border is rising.
I mean, you have children who have, no legal rights on their own, and they're not traveling with anyone that can ensure the protection of their rights. So they're often, fall prey to people who want to capitalize and exploit them, right? Human traffickers or criminal entities who want to take advantage of them.
Jennifer Podkull is Chief of Global Policy and Advocacy for Kids in Need of Defense.
The most important and protective measure for a child is being with family. So any policy that does not promote family unity is going to hurt children.
One concern is that this executive order will incentivize families to send their children to the border alone in order to seek asylum. In a press call, a senior Biden advisor said that they don't think this will happen and that they're monitoring the situation on the ground week by week. In Washington, Efa Kane, Cronkite News.
The 2024 Arizona Voters Agenda Survey found that 82% of Arizona voters agree that the influx of immigrants at the border is international humanitarian crisis and that leaders must work to find a bipartisan solution.
Former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani has been released after being booked in Maricopa County. Giuliani is charged with conspiring to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. 10 other allies of former President Trump have also been charged in the case. Giuliani and the others have all pleaded not guilty. His trial is expected to begin in October.
Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays announced a $700 million settlement over some of Johnson & Johnson's baby powder products. It brings to an end the charges that Johnson & Johnson misled people into thinking its talc products were safe, despite knowing the products were linked to cancer. Johnson & Johnson stopped selling talc-based powder last year. Mays joins 42 other state attorney generals from across the country in the settlement.
And several Arizona cities have been ranked among the best in the nation when it comes to a staycation. And Tucson comes in at number 10 on Wallet Hub's list, followed by Scottsdale, Tempe, and Phoenix down in 74th place. Orlando, Florida came in at number 1. Wallet Hub looked at things like access to water parks, nightlife, and affordable restaurants to come up with its rankings.
Rodeos are a popular attraction here in Arizona.
That's right, and one popular rodeo destination will soon undergo a major renovation. And after the break, the new $1 million plan for this old rodeo? The full story after this quick break.
It's been a hot few days across the valley. Find out how long the warm weather will stick around when we return.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage.
Against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
As journalists at Cronkite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickenburg.
Live in Los Angeles.
In Cleveland. In Washington. In Louisville.
From Jerusalem.
Live in Philadelphia.
From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Cronkite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
Welcome back. The city of Apache Junction might be on its way to becoming a hub for large events in the East Valley. They have plans to renovate the 20 acres of rodeo grounds that are currently home to events like the Lost Dutchman Days. Taylor Mazok has more on the city's plans.
Apache Junction lies in the shadow of the Superstitions. It may seem like a quiet city, but it may not stay that way for long. In October, the city acquired the keys to the Lost Dutchman Days rodeo grounds. Formerly owned by the Bureau of Land Management, the city just approved the master plan to start renovating this 20-acre lot.
So the process really is going to be sitting down with our major stakeholders, some of the current event planners, our chamber, our parks and maintenance crew, to really define what are some of those priority areas that we want to get in here first.
And the city is planning on investing $23 million in these new renovations over the next few years.
With a new stage, rodeo stalls, and some shiny new bleachers, they have plans to host large events. This means more people will be drawn to the area.
They start coming into our town, they start eating at our restaurants, they start buying the fuel, they start just whatever it is they need. And that's, I think, is going to have a huge impact economically on this city.
Local businesses like the Handlebar Pub and Grill say they get lots of snowbird visitors, but they hope the event center will bring more tourism.
We're hoping with an event center that is able to draw events year-round, it'll help, just bring more and more people out this way to see what Apache Junction has to offer.
The area already offers a lot for outdoor enthusiasts, But events like concerts, car shows, or even weddings could bring in a different crowd.
I think there's a little bit of a stigma that Apache Junction has, but it has amazing potential and amazing beauty out here.
In Apache Junction, Taylor Mazok, Cronkite News.
The city estimates the renovations could take 5 to 7 years.
Well, it's way too warm to be outside for a rodeo these days because the temperatures have really been soaring this week. Joseph Furtado joins us now from the Cronkite Weather Center with more on what we can expect.
Well, thank you guys. Let's take a look at what we got going on here on our evening planner on Tuesday. Starting off around 6 p.m., it's going to be 108 degrees in those triple digits, but we'll start to cool off as we continue to progress on through the evening. And right around 10 p.m., we'll drop to those double digits at 97 degrees. But speaking of lows right now, we'll see what we got going on here for Wednesday. Tomorrow, the coldest place on the map is going to be pretty chilly up here at Grand Canyon at 43 degrees. Some other colder places, though, on the map, Flagstaff is 51. But right here in Phoenix in the valley, 83 degrees, not too much of a low. And now we can look at some of those high temperatures, though, for Wednesday. Tomorrow, Gila Bend, 113, one of the hottest places here on the map. Phoenix is going to be 112, but that place everybody probably wants to be is right up here in Flagstaff, the coldest place here on the map at 88 degrees, a cool 88 degrees compared to everywhere else here. We'll look at the futurecast here, what we got going on throughout tomorrow and the rest of the weekend into early Friday. We're going to get some moisture traveling across the state and start to exit right around Window Rock. Then we can look at the 8-day forecast that we got going on for the rest of the weekend, but starting tomorrow, 112. Thursday, we'll get some cloud coverage, but the temperature is going to start to pick right back up again as we continue to progress on through the weekend. 112 on Saturday, 112 on Sunday, and then we'll start to cool off a little bit into early next week. We can get a little closer to that average of 104, but that's going to do it here for the Cronkite News Weather Report. I'm Joseph Furtado. Back to you guys at the desk.
Coming up next, an early look at the Arizona Cardinals as they prepare for the upcoming season.
With the new addition of star rookie wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., Cardinals fans are eager to see how the new offense will perform. The team will look to move on from last season, where they ended with a 4-13 record and last place in the NFC West. We'll be right back after the break.
3, 2, 1. Cronkite News. Get real professional experience in areas such as reporting, broadcast editing, and behind-the-scenes production, such as technical director and audio.
Kill the mics.
Or go out in the field and cover important local stories.
Learn and master the English language.
In a fun, welcoming atmosphere. Cronkite News. The future starts now.
What Cronkite News means to me is opportunity.
We do news right at Cronkite News, serving a community ethically, honestly, and truthfully.
And we can provide a necessarily different angle, different voice for those people that really need it.
The students, they have a lot of passion for journalism.
I get to do a lot of stories about the Hispanic community.
And we have access to cover all of these sorts of events and get media coverage of all these different personalities and athletes, and that's just a huge thing.
But it's also a chance for people here to be humanized. Individuals of all walks of life.
Cronkite News will help take the next generation of journalists onto their next careers.
I am old enough to remember Walter Cronkite.
We're putting a lot of pride on his name because we are practicing a lot of the things that he did.
I think he'd be smiling from ear to ear.
I.
We are Cronkite.
Welcome back. I'm Taylor Mazok with your Cronkite Sports Report. The Phoenix Mercury have 3 players headed to the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris. Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner, and Kalia Copper all made the Team USA roster. The USA basketball says they went with experience for this year's squad in justifying picking veterans over players like Fever rookie Caitlin Clark. For Taurasi, this will be her 6th Olympic Games and Griner's 3rd, while Copper will be making her Olympic debut.
An opportunity to go to Paris and represent, obviously, our franchise, our city. It's such a cool feeling, you know, for BG and Kai. It's always nice when you get to go over there with teammates that you have a great rapport with.
Back on the court, there's a lot of good things happening in my life right now, and I'm really happy playing for more than just the Phoenix Mercury, for my hometown, playing for my little one on the way, and trying to make him proud.
Team USA will hold a training camp in Phoenix during the WNBA break and use the All-Star game here as their send-off to Paris. Today was the last day for practice for the Arizona Cardinals during the offseason and ahead of training camp next month. Cronkite News reporter Jack Bartlett joins us from the Cardinals practice facility in Tempe with more on the team.
Yeah, so far the Cardinals have been putting the pieces together to make a revamped offense. Watching Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. practice today, you can tell they are developing the chemistry needed between a quarterback and wide receiver. The Cardinals' motto this year is team first. Head coach Jonathan Gannon touched on the state of the franchise, saying everyone needs to put the team ahead of themselves. Gannon expects everyone to be selfless, especially his team, and no greater example of this than B.J. Ojulari giving his number 18 to rookie Marvin Harrison Jr., who wore it in college. Or how about Michael Wilson's mentality towards the rookie wide receiver?
Just based on these couple of practices that I've been out there with him, I would anticipate him to continue his college production to the NFL, barring injury. And I mean, he's really hadn't had any busts in the playbook, and I think he's very perspicacious and always seeking information and very self-aware. And so with that attitude combined with having elite traits that you can't teach and a great natural feel for the position, I truly think sky's the limit for him.
Wilson and Harrison said they have been practicing at various high schools with Kyler Murray to build chemistry. Gannon says that practice will resume in a couple of weeks. At the Cardinals training facility in Tempe, Jack Bartlett, Cronkite News.
Canton, Ohio is not only the site of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, it's also the site of the Women's Tackle Football Championship in July. And Arizona might just have a team vying for that title. Cronkite News reporter Katrina Villarreal has more on the Arizona Outcast.
You know, it's more than just a game. It's being part of a family.
The Arizona Outcasts are the first and only women's tackle football team in Arizona. Before they were the Outcasts, the team was known as the Prowlers. Defensive coordinator Dave Bills says they wanted a fresh start.
A lot of the players did stay with us from one team to the next, but we really wanted a reset and start a whole brand new team with a whole new model and mission.
The team consists of women who have played with the Outcasts for years and even those who just got their start last season. Linebacker Lindsey Runge says she knew she wanted to be a part of the team when she set foot on the field.
Literally, when I came for tryouts, everyone was so welcoming and inviting, and I felt like I was actually part of a team. I played college softball, so it was nice to be part of a team again.
There are not always a lot of opportunities for women in the realm of tackle football, but the Outcasts and the Women's Football Alliance has been able to provide a space for women.
We are developing something that's going to have a legacy with it, you know. And so for me, that's just definitely a sense of pride.
The Arizona Outcast is more than just a team. They're a family, and they support each other no matter what.
Defensive tackle Brandy Warner says it means a lot to her to be a part of something like the Outcast. Everyone is always willing to help. The biggest positive for Warner, being able to show her daughter she can do anything.
She is here at every single game on the sidelines, and everybody can hear her from the stands. And so it's been super exciting to show her that it doesn't matter, that anybody can do anything if they really want to.
The Outcast has one thing on their mind: championships. And after missing it last year, nothing will stop them from reaching their goal.
We're going to win it. How are we going to win it? And that's by everybody doing their job and working together.
In Phoenix, Katrina Villarreal, Cronkite Sports.
The Outcast will close out its season this Saturday with hopes of making it to the championship game in Ohio. Rock climbing is a popular pastime in the Phoenix metro area, but the sport also has its dangers. Most recently, a woman suffered serious injury after falling approximately 40 feet while climbing Tom's Thumb in Scottsdale. Our Rachel Masson talked to the firefighter who rescued the woman about safety precautions climbers should consider.
Dangers in rock climbing vary depending on the types of climbing, whether you are bouldering, doing traditional climbing, or sport climbing. Phoenix firefighter Tupac Enrique has rescued 4 climbers in his career and was head of rescue for a woman who fell while climbing Tom's Thumb during Memorial Day weekend. Enrique says that climbing outdoors can be safe as long as you have the essential equipment and know your limits.
As long as you are with somebody who really is safety-minded and does not push anybody beyond their limits, like start at a very easy level.
While some injuries come from not having the proper training, other injuries can come from elemental factors. Enrique was also head of rescue for local rock climber Deb Mohan. Mohan got injured at McDowell Mountain and recounts a traumatic incident he had in 2019 after a loose crag fell on him.
The next thing I hear a giant sound and big rock coming down. And somebody shouted rock, and by the time I could understand anything, my right leg was pinned against another rock.
Mohan was pinned for hours and required 4 surgeries to repair a broken leg. Mohan still experiences mental blocks while climbing outside. Now he supplements his training a couple of times during the week at indoor gyms. Joe Sowinski is an avid climber and owner of indoor climbing gym Focus Climbing Center in Mesa. Sowinski says that indoor gyms have less elemental variables when it comes to preventing injuries.
Inside, you just don't have as many of those things to worry about, like the sun's never in your eyes and it's never blowing 40 degrees. There's never a storm coming into your gym.
Whether climbers choose to go indoors or outdoors, Enrique gives advice to new climbers and veteran climbers alike.
Have a plan before you go out there of what you want to try, and don't push yourself into a point where you could start making mistakes.
And most importantly, never go climbing alone. In Phoenix, Rachel Masson, Cronkite News.
College football season will look a lot different this fall, with exciting changes ahead, including many teams moving to new conferences. The college football playoffs are also shaking things up. The CFP announced the game dates and bowl assignments for the 2024 and 2025 seasons. The Verbo Fiesta Bowl, hosted in Glendale, will have the first ever quarterfinal game for the new 12-team expansion. Verbo Fiesta Bowl Vice President of Communications, Scott Lightman, shares his sentiments towards the new format.
The 12-team playoff will provide a lot of excitement because we will know who one of the teams is on Selection Sunday, and then we get to watch a first-round game and have the buildup of 3 exciting college football teams who will take the field here on December 31st for the college football playoff quarterfinal at the Verbo Fiesta Bowl.
The Verbo Fiesta Bowl will kick off at 5:30 p.m. New Year's Eve as college football fans and Arizonans look forward to ending the year with another bowl game. That does it for this edition of Cronkite Sports Report. Let's send it back to Amon and Lucas at the desk.
Thanks, Taylor. Coming up next, something you just don't want to miss.
We're talking about an adorable addition to the Phoenix Zoo. When we return, the 2 newest residents of the zoo who are making history. Their story is next.
Here at the TV Production and Graphics Lab, we are behind the scenes making the news happen. Gain experience in the control room directing, teledirecting, and rolling the audio of every Cronkite News show. Run the floor and work in a professional environment, honing your skills for the future. Create graphics that will be seen by the local community on Arizona PBS. Be a part of the bloodline that makes the Cronkite News shows possible.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication's Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience.
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
Welcome back. A big announcement from folks at the Phoenix Zoo.
That's right, the zoo just welcomed not one but 2 new lion cubs.
Earlier this month, the zoo's lioness, Zuri, gave birth to the little ones, but you can't see them just yet. The lion's cubs are going to spend some time with their mom for a few months in the lion's den before they make their debut to the public. By the way, these are the very first African lions born at the zoo since the 70s.
That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Lucas Metzner.
And I'm Iman Abraham. Thank you for joining us.
And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.